Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to episode 3 of the Troll the Edge podcast. That is Captain Mark Henderson with the Liquid Fire Fishing Team. My name's John Molfetto. Welcome, and glad you guys can join us tonight. Mark, how are you?
Hey, doing well, John. How is everyone out there? I know we're going to be waiting for everybody, hopefully, to join, and excited about this evening, man. I'm doing well. How's your week going, man?
It's good. It's good. Not definitely not as hectic as yours has been. I know trying to get loaded up, getting ready to head south to Fort Pierce for the Fort Pierce King Mackerel Invitational.
Yeah, man, a lot of exciting things going on, and with the weather warming up a little bit, certainly out here in North Carolina, and looking forward to some cool things getting ready to happen for this season. But even further south, man, we got this the Fort Pierce King Mackerel Invitational, man. It's a great event, and 4th year running. We had Mike and Alicia Minia on a few weeks ago with our first podcast, and really appreciative of them being able to join. And they're putting on an amazing event that quite a few people from North Carolina are traveling to, and a lot of people on the west coast of Florida. I think they've got people from the Midwest even traveling. So, and that is this not this coming weekend, but the next. But we're going to be headed down this weekend and hopefully be able to catch some bait, have a good time. We kind of treat it as a family vacation, and but the wind is absolutely kicking right now down out of Fort Pierce. I mean, out of the east, I think it's blowing at 25 to 35 knots. It's just been horrible, is my understanding.
Yeah, it's going to make it tough, tough for you guys. Hopefully, you got a bit of time to have it settle down and get right for you. But, you'll have, be able to get some bait pinned up and be down there plenty of time for that. So,
yeah, I hope so. It's looking good the actual days of the tournament from what I can see. So, extended forecast. Is and that's nice, man. So it's going to be a great event, great location. They just do a tremendous job. Captain's meeting's fantastic, and looking forward to being part of it again. We're always thankful to be able to go down there. But hey, man, how about that last guest we had with Brant McMullen, Captain Brant McMullen, Ocean Isle Fishing Center? I mean, that guy, he is quite the fisherman, quite the businessman, quite the family man, and wow, what a pleasure it was to have Brent on the podcast with us.
Yeah, no doubt. He was talking. The story with Braden winning that tournament was awesome, and then talking about going down to Venice and going yellowfin tuna fishing, and I was up till 10 o'clock last night watching that he posted on his YouTube channel, so had to stay up and watch it. And
man, it was an honor. He's such a competitive guy, but just so influential in the industry and the sport, and and his family is so talented. Amy and Caroline and Rube and Braden, obviously. It was just some good stories, and appreciative of having him aboard. We got some really good clips out of it, and that was exciting.
No doubt.
I got to tell you, these two guys we got tonight, they got unbelievable families as well, and mean a lot to this sport. And thankful to know these guys, and thankful to have them on. And we'll chat about that a little more in a minute. But hey, I did want to mention also, for any of you listening, there's a young man named Trask Cunningham who's been fishing for a long time, fishes a lot of events, fishes with Russell Spatholt now, and he put on something called the Kingfish Elimination Series that he posted out there. I think it's 32 teams and kind of a unique setup. There are 4 events that are associated with it, and I think it's the Jolly Mine, the Rumble, the U.S. Open, and maybe the Fall Brawl, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know that those are the orders, but anyway, congratulations, Trask. Good job. It got filled up. It was kind of a cool concept. I think it was like $100 entry fee, and you take the draw and you fish against somebody and you move on. And it's kind of cool.
Yeah, man, I saw the concept. I thought it was fantastic. Maybe he'll do it for the North and get the Morehead City guys involved in some form or fashion. But that was exciting news coming. And then we've got another tournament out of Sneaks Ferry.
Yeah, it looks
like it's coming together pretty good.
I think so. I think there are a couple of events. I think they're still working out some details and things like that, because that time of year, you start getting in September through November, man. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of open weekends, and but it does look like they're working on that, and I think they're going to be SKA Division I events, which I think the SK needed that, so it's nice to see. And so some cool things happening in the sport, and excited to be part of that. And hey, look, man, I've had fun doing this podcast deal so far, and hopefully, my audio was so bad last time, and I apologize to everybody for that. I felt shamed. You shamed me into getting a good mic. It actually has a set of headphones.
Yeah, got headphones, man. You look professional now.
I look like a little chubby guy with headphones on. That's what I look like, man.
It's all good. So, well, let's hopefully we'll get a chance to talk to you down there in Fort Pierce. And we had mentioned during the show with Mike and Alicia that maybe we get some of the guys that are down there for that tournament on, get them to jump in for 5 minutes and kind of talk about bait fishing and preparations before the event starts. I think it'd be kind of a good insight for folks to see that and to hear from the guys that are down there. So I think that would be great.
Yeah, we may be a little off schedule. Obviously, we're trying to do it right now every couple of weeks. But I mean, it's not a TV show, so it's something that I guess we can do whatever we want to do. So, but by the way, if anybody out there is watching, we've got some good contacts in the industry. But if you have something that you would like to hear about, somebody you'd like to have join, doesn't have to be in king mackerel fishing. I've got a lot of friends that sell fish tournaments and White Marlin Open and just a lot of different things and just the industry as a whole. Manufacturing, and there's a lot of cool things that I think we can maybe bring to this. With all of us that have worked in the industry for a little while and been part of it, it's we've made some good connections, and hopefully we can bring you some good content. That's our goal.
Yeah, for sure. That's when we started talking about this, that's what we wanted, right? We are all, at the end of the day, we're not technology geeks. We're all fishermen. So there's going to be hiccups. Talking about your audio last week. Yeah, it's going to happen. This isn't going to be perfect, but we want to make sure we're having fun while doing this and getting to talk to people that you guys want to hear from, right? So, and speaking of some people that we want to hear from, we've got two really good guests today. Tournament director of the Cape Lookout Shootout Series and the Cape Lookout Classic Series, and the tournament director of the Morehead City Open King Mackerel Tournament. We've got Ron Dorsey and Chad Shingleton.
I thought it was Michelle because she's the kind of that stirs the drink, man. You know that.
And I invited the wrong person, Mark. I'm sorry, Michelle. I won't make that mistake again.
We got to get that out. We'll talk about that. That's for sure. So,
without further ado, let's bring them on and say hello to these guys. Chad, Ron, good evening, guys. How are you?
Hello, gentlemen.
Doing well.
Can you hear us, Chad?
Yep, we got you now. Good to go. So, how you guys doing today?
Wonderful this evening. It's been just another week gone by, getting closer and closer to fishing season.
Yeah, man. Well, it's exciting to have you part of it. We're sitting here seeing if Chad can get his audio corrected. He was doing just fine a while ago. You there with us, buddy?
Y'all hear me?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah.
Yep, he's good. So, well, yeah, Ron, you kind of mentioned it right there. We're itching to go. It's been a cold winter and a lot of wind, so not a lot of days on the water. But I think we're all any opportunity we can get. I know Mark and I went sea bass fishing a couple weeks ago, and his son Joshua and I and the kids went tried to go bonito fishing on Saturday, and that didn't work out real well. But just looking to get days on the water right now.
They showed up like 2 days after y'all went.
Yeah.
I think they're out there pretty thick right now.
Yeah, I'm tired of looking at Facebook and seeing everybody else catching fish, and all I know is I am doing getting house stuff ready, getting yard stuff ready, so that maybe I can get fishing quicker. So, the inevitable honey-do list.
Yep, understood. Understood. Well, gang, is Chad good? Can we hear him? Chad, can we hear you, buddy? Can you say something? I don't know that he can hear us, John.
I'm not sure. Yeah, well, I'll see if I can text him.
Okay.
Yep.
Whoa.
Oh, he just
He'll
jumped
join.
out. So
We'll jump back in. Hey, look, let's get started. Let's move on as we wait for Chad to jump back in. I'm sure he'll be able to join us. But Ron, we appreciate you joining, buddy. And you've been in the industry for a long time. You've been before you were a tournament director, you and your family spent so much time on the water and as King's Ransom. And I remember many years ago just watching your team be so successful, and as a family team it was really kind of unique and cool and interesting to see what you guys were able to do. And you and your dad and your brother and your whole family was just involved, and you still are, and that's exciting to see. And so as we go through this, really love to kind of hear a little bit about you, and your family, King's Ransom, and learn a little more about what you guys did, how this came about, and how the passion started to drive you and to be part of what this sport has become, and then leading into being a tournament director and such a high profile tournament that we have too. So give us a little background on it.
Well, to start with, fishing has been, it is a passion. It's something that for all of us, absolutely love it. Started tournament fishing. Dad, we had always wanted to get a bigger boat, had always had 16, 17, 18 foot smaller center consoles and things. And in 1986, he bought a used Wellcraft V20. We fished our first tournament in 1991. We were, and King's Ransom, the name came about as the ransom we had to pay to king mackerelfish. And so just started doing that. Dad had that boat, and then had always wanted to get a little bigger, hey, 2 foot Idas, something bigger, better, do a little more, go a little further. And he had always told me, he said, when I was ready to pay for half of the next one, we would buy another boat. So in 1993, we ordered a 25 foot Hydra Sports walk around, and that's the first boat Dad and I owned together, and been doing it ever since.
That's the accounting side of it. Isn't he an accountant?
Yes, he's an accountant.
There you go. Perfect.
Exactly.
Segue. All right.
Yeah,
So
he's always the money man. So,
there you go. Good for him.
Yeah, so that's how. I mean, we just started tournament fishing. Our first one ever was the Atlantic Beach King Mackerel Tournament.
Wow.
Always, back in that time, that was the granddaddy of events, and so just that you had what. You had Southport, the U.S. Open. You had the Wrightsville Beach King Mackerel Tournament and the Atlantic Beach Tournament. Those were back in the early days, basically what was going on before the SKA. Because what was it, 91 that the SKA started, I believe, and
somewhere in that,
yeah, 91.
Right, yeah.
So,
Jack and
it's all just again a family thing. Dad, my brother, and I, and then Matt Gravitt, who has been part of our team almost since the beginning, but basically since 1993 when we bought that other boat, started fishing together.
Well, I'd like to let's roll over to Chad real quick, get some of his background. I'd like to go back to how it's led into your profession and where, with the industry, and then also, where, the first bell was rang with cash and that type of thing. So, but Chad, can you hear us, buddy?
Yeah, I got you, bud. Sorry.
All right. No worries, man. That's all right. We good.
I had to run to the Walmart and get me some minutes.
Get you some what?
Some minutes.
Minutes.
My boost I messed up.
You too much, man. So what, you missed a little bit of it, but what we did, just talk with Ron. How he'd been fishing a long time. I was telling him I'd heard about, seeing King's Ransom for a long time, seeing his family. You're also a big family guy. You love your family and very involved. And so talk a little bit about how things got started for you as well, man, your family involvement and what, how it kind of started and what it's, transitioned to outside of being a tournament director right now. We'll get to that.
Yeah, man, I don't remember the years. There was a lot of foggy days back then, but it was the early 2000s, one of the first saltwater trips I ever went on. Me and Michelle, this is before I got married. This is when I was dating Michelle, and her dad didn't like me enough yet for me to stay at her house. So I went and I went with a group of guys, and we stayed at the old Showboat Motel right there beside was the old Channel Marker restaurant and stuff right there.
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was one of our building company. They had got a boat. I want to say it was with Pete Zook on the Energizer. I swear that's what I want to say it was, or he was running the Fight Lady or something. But anyway, we we tried to drink them out of whatever they had at the channel marker, and he'd order crab legs. And I'm thinking I was early that morning, and I'm knocking on everybody's door to get up. Well, I remember this man coming to get me. I'm standing there in my drawers. He said, "Bo, you about to get left." So my starting out, my saltwater fishing started out how I probably continued it for a little while, but
Did
man,
you have
just
to fish in your drawers?
do what?
Did you have to
No,
fish in your drawers?
no, I had to. I was able to slip some stuff on real
There
quick.
you
My breath wasn't the best in the world, I'm sure, but we figured that out. Whole natural light at the time, but and man, then as I got into it, I started. When I was with Goldsboro Fire Department, I got hooked up with some guys, Chad Cobb and Jason Singleton, and we fished a boat called they fished a, oh gosh, was it a 23 Seahawk? I don't know, 21, 23 or something, but we started fishing and they kind of got me into it. We remember the first time in the early 2000s we qualified for Biloxi. That's when the top three, I think they paid your way or at least paid for your room or something.
Yeah.
Man, we were slapping hands. I mean, we were just fired up, man. And ever since then, as we've continued, I got fishing. I started fishing. I got me a little Wellcraft boat, man. I thought that thing was a 40-footer at the time, but it won't about 20 foot.
And you fished it like a 40-footer a few times.
Well, yeah, you gotta, yeah, we've heard a couple of times we were a little crazy out there, but man, we got into that little, man, I love that little boat, and I've got just so many great stories that we've done well. And but I got into the FLW 04 is when it started. I think we got in it around at 05 with Tat.
Yeah.
And Tat, man, I mean, Tat loved it, right? I mean, I thought that was the coolest thing. He had that 31 contender, the black, red, and white. And man, I thought that was the best thing. So, man, we just kind of got into it and, fished the FLW. Johnny Hudson fished with us in the pros. And I also fished a lot with mullet. A lot of guys may not know mullet now, but man, back in the day, mullet was the man. And you guys will get a kick out of this. It's so neat to see the difference of these two guys. I would bring a rig out and mullet was on the boat. And at the time I was fishing 3 and 4 wire, 4 between the hooks, 3 leader. I mean, I was light, right? I mean, that's what we were supposed to do. And I pulled that thing out. Mullet, look at that thing. He said, "You ain't caught many big fish, have you?" And he'd take that thing and threw it over his, and he won't, when he gets the bite, he don't want but one. He wants that one. And it's just amazing. And like I said, Johnny, he taught me a lot. And as we just kind of, transitioned into it, I just met so many people. And the FLW days when we were traveling, which that kind of leads us to where we are today. But that was a good time.
How did Chad? How did you and Ron link up?
Man,
basically FLW. Lonnie.
Okay.
FLW. Yeah, Lonnie Jr.
Yeah, I was fishing with Lonnie Jones Jr., LJ, or the third actually. Call him LJ on the Walmart, on the National Guard boat, and friends with Tat, and so got to know Chad there, and just then started kind of fishing a little bit here and there together, and just became friends through that.
Now awesome. I worry him every time we have a tournament.
Oh, all of us.
Yeah. But no, it was, man, it was just, like I said, met a lot of people, that's what everybody in the day, Joe Winslow, man, you see that guy and I walk up to him. I'm like, man, that's Joe Winslow right there. That's him. I'm fishing the same tournament he is, man. That's Joe. Hold on one second. Joe. But I was like, I mean, these guys that you see in these big boats, which at the time we were running the Wellcrafts with the Genmar stuff, and man, it was awesome. And Tad, I was worried. We were so close at Mount Pleasant, the championship that year. I think we finished 5th or 6th, missed TV on Sunday by like a half a pound. But I know with Tat Fearon on the boat with the camera, we were gonna have to bleep out every word. I said, "Don't even bring a microphone if Tat's on the boat with us." It's the whole thing be beep.
Yep.
It's funny that you guys share those stories about, back the earlier days. We talked, Brant was on a couple weeks ago with us, and he talked about the evolution of it, and then how much it those earlier days meant to what the sport is now and what it's transitioned to, the evolution of it now. And, there's been reasons for it and need for it, just like anything, any industry, any, business, it evolves, it changes and all that. And, and it goes through ups and downs and the cycles. And, it's interesting to see, but some of the stories that you guys just shared, I mean, while they might be different people, they're very similar. I mean, we talked about, earlier in our careers that, the first year we ever, fished, we were, you had to qualify. It's like the top 20 or top 25, and we were 23 and under. And man, you could get in if somebody qualified higher in another division and they dropped out of that. And so it was continuous. I mean, and social media wasn't even in existence back then. It was the Angler magazine, and you were calling Jack and aggravating the crap out of him on the phone, or the secretary. It was just so intriguing and so consuming, man, in a different way, I think, than what it is now, because everything's changed. Not everything, but there's a lot of things with the size boats, with the way bait has to be taken care of now, the way that that people really focus on that because there's so much money involved in it now.
Yeah.
Well, back in those days, $10,000 first place was huge.
Big
I mean,
deal.
and it was a big deal. And we actually were fortunate enough in 96, I believe it was, finished second in the Nationals and out of Sarasota and won a Ranger boat. And it was like,
Wow.
oh, wow, that was great. And I guess that was what really fueled it for us, and it's cost us a whole lot more money since then. But,
Well, y'all won your share too now. Come on.
once in a while we'll get lucky.
For sure. And I know that the other fella sitting here, he's won a bunch himself. So
Man.
Recently too.
yeah, man. That's hey, so talk a little bit about the travel part of it. Chad, both of you talked a little bit about it. We've been fortunate with Liquid Fire to be able to travel a lot with the pro tours and things like that. And, that was a unique experience in and of itself. I mean, you developed relationships, you had the ability to go to different places, and the way that was structured back then, people fished at the same time, and, it was in a points calculation system. And I know in the pro tour, it was just really, really cool. And it was a lot of pressure, different type of pressure. It seemed like back then it was more hardcore competition against a defined group of people fishing for, one particular goal, over a period of time,
And it was challenging to learn new waters, if you will.
Oh yeah.
To get to new places. And I mean, I tell you, even today, I think the smaller the network, the better. But man, if you didn't really have any connections, and when you were in Florida and places like that, we'd get there and try to fish. But it was just learning, just seeing different things, seeing people. It was just an enjoyment to it as well.
It really, yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Chad. It's just enjoyment. I mean, and the connections that you make. And you're right, man. If you didn't have some way to make some sort of contact to even, where do I put my boat in? I mean, it's really an experience. And then I tell you, one of the toughest places that was Georgia, man. And we were fishing that pro deal. I mean, if you don't know somebody there, if you don't have some sort of an idea, that's an interesting fishery right there. That's different. So, but it was a cool time. It's a really interesting time to be part and growing up through the sport like that. There'll be people that'll watch this that are still new in the sport, that you guys, with what you've done, have brought new blood into this sport, and all of us have kids and family members that are coming up through it as well that don't have that experience, but they're creating their own opportunities and experience now. And I know, Chad, you with Carson and obviously me with my sons and grandkids now, and Ron with your family. I mean, talk a little about, what with your families and kids. And Chad, talk a little bit about Carson and Michelle. And, I don't think you'll have any issues talking about that.
You want to go, Ron?
Well, I was just going to say, for me, it's Dad, and I am the luckiest guy in the world. And Dad is 87 years old, and he still goes. We own, as I said, we bought our first boat together in 1993, and he still is a huge part of it. Loves it. if it's going to be blowing and it's 5-foot seas and we say, okay, we got to go to Hatteras, he says, let's go. Jumps in the beanbag and rides. My daughters, which I have 2 daughters, and they don't fish tournaments, but they enjoy the fun fishing and, hey, a triggerfish trip or a offshore trolling trip or something like that. But it's still a family thing. My brother, my dad, and I are the majority of our team. And and who knows, as I get older and my daughters, maybe one day there'll be grandkids. We want to make sure that there's a few steps involved first before that comes along. But they, hey, it's kind of our family revolved and has revolved around boats and fishing. Dad wrote a little article years ago. We were part of the Raleigh Saltwater Fishing Club, and he wrote a little article, what does it cost? And he said, kind of it's a family joining point. When the motors start up on the boat, you knew that the family was going to be together. And that's kind of always been there. It's what we do. It's just boating, fishing. It's a lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that I wouldn't know what to do without.
Yeah. It's such a cool thing that, you see a lot of that in this sport and in this community and just people being together, families being together. So you explained it so well. And Chad, I know you've got some very similar experiences with your family.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, first of all, anybody that knows me and you, John may have come in a little later during the good years, but if it weren't for that wife of mine, I don't know telling. I probably wouldn't be here talking to you guys. But her and him have supported me through everything. And but Shell, I scared her to death one time on the boat, so she's not a fishing lady. But she supports everything we do, hunting, fishing, and loving every day. Is like Carson says. I mean, it's just and to watch Carson grow up and to be a part of it and to be able to enjoy that. You have to understand where I'm coming from. To be able to enjoy that from what it was 10 years ago to now is absolutely just unbelievable. And I look up to Ron and his dad, Mark, you and your family. Look at George and Randall and their grandson, the whole circle of family there. And there's a lot of teams within the shootout that we just look up to. And I want to be like that. But just watching Carson grow up with his friends, and I mean he's a pistol now. I mean he ain't got the tat language, but I mean if you don't do something right, he's gonna let you know it.
He'll tell you about it.
That's just the way. That's just the way it is, man. He is, but I mean he's so passionate about it. This young, we call him Rain Man. I mean the dude. The coach the other night told him to pick off a runner at second. He's never pitched before. I mean, you could see the smoke going through his head. I got to pick my leg up, spin around, throw it to second. E equals MC squared. I mean, he's like, how am I going to do all this? It's just, I mean, but that's just what he is. I mean,
he's going to figure it out, though, ain't he?
Yeah, man. He runs the boat. He does everything. And Michelle, she's on the hill all the time, but she's pulling for us as hard as anybody. And, I mean, that support in itself is, you guys know it.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I mean, my wife does fish with us some, but she's also helping take care of my mother. Unfortunately, my mother had somebody kind of needs to be there during the days. And so we kind of rotate. But yeah, it is a family thing. If your family, as we all know, if the family's not involved in it, then it can quickly become something that separates families. So you want everybody involved. Yeah, no, you're right about that. That's a good point. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think you hit it earlier, Ron, talking about when the motor starts up. And it's funny you say that. I got home today and kind of mentioned to my 2 girls that they might think about going fishing on Sunday. And I got home and they're like, "Are we going? We want to go." I'm like, all right, we're going. It's that's an awesome feeling to be able to have that that connection with them.
Yeah. Stuff. So and just beyond the family, just like real quick, I mean, the fishing family, Mark, John, Ron, the entire family, Carson, I mean, I'll talk to these guys at the captain's meeting. I mean, Triple Trouble, oh gosh, Mr. Field. I mean, a lot of older guys. He's like, yeah, I talked to Carson the other day. I mean, he just picks up the phone, 13, 14 at the time. Now he's 15, but you pick up the phone, just call him in. Hey, what's happening? Got bait, this, that. I mean, it just, and that means so much to me that to be part of that extended family. I mean, it is just too cool.
It's pretty interesting though to watch these young men. They were kids. All of you guys are kids to me, but but my kids, as they grew up in it, Crockett and Joshua, and that interaction with an older, a more mature age group, it really kind of exposes them to something different than my children were homeschooled. Audrey homeschooled all my kids. So we got to do some really cool things when it comes to fishing, and my employer at that time, he very much supported that and that kind of thing. So seeing them come up, and like you said, Chad, they develop a relationship with adults that, can kind of help them, guide them, and communicate with them on a different level than someone of their same age who doesn't have a maturity, doesn't have an understanding of life and things like that. Gotta be careful in some of those conversations, I guess. But the reality is that it is, it's pretty cool to see your children grow and have that depth of understanding that they might not get otherwise.
Right. Absolutely.
Well, it's just like one of the things growing up, I didn't mess up. Because if I knew if I messed up, it meant I didn't get to go fishing. And I wanted to go fishing more than I did do stupid stuff, as a teenager and whatever else. Not that there weren't a few things here and there, but, it just, hey, and that's part of, I think, like all kids, it's a family. It is a family. And you've got a bunch of different parents, in essence, watching over your kids. And so,
I mean, it takes, the comment, it takes a village, right? to a whole nother level. I remember going to, you mentioned Sarasota in '96. I mean, fishing tournaments out of there, and paying Eric Smith, uncomfortably numb son, to go feed our baits while we're hanging out and just talking about what we're going to do the next day, and everybody's looking after everybody, and now seeing those kids and Mark and Joshua's Joshua and Crockett growing up, and seeing them with their families, it's cool to see as they've all gotten older.
We're into our with Colby, my grandson. He fished every single tournament with us last year at 8 years old, and he's fourth generation, because my dad fished the first 3 years with us, if I'm not mistaken, until he passed, and so it's really unique to see that, and it's interesting to see how things progress and how they transpire. I mean, my kids won, the junior angler title in Division I, and Colby won it last year. So his dad won a junior angler title that he just won. So it's really, just means I'm old, but it is, I guess it's just part of a story and a lineage and things that, as we all develop a legacy together, with a cool sport, I think, not individually necessarily or anything like that. As John said, it takes a village, and everybody's part of this, and, really proud that, of what you guys have been able to accomplish in your families, and appreciate everything that you guys do. And so, as we talk into that, let's talk a little bit about the tournaments. And obviously we talked a little bit about how things evolved, and things are different now. Cape Lookout Shootout is different. The Morehead City Open is different. There are other tournament series that have been fabricated, and tournaments that kind of follow some of this lead. For example, the Fort Pierce tournament that we're getting ready to fish, it kind of developed because of the Morehead City Open, and because some of the people that traveled, Alex Burgess and Mike Minia, and some folks that traveled and loved it so much that I think we can do it down here. So it's really unique, and it's so it's infiltrating an entire sport and an entire Southeast. So let's talk a little bit about how some of this developed, Chad, on the Cape Lookout Shootout. I mean, that's been around, coming up on 14th year now?
14 years. It's unbelievable to be where we came from. And, it's funny. Jimmy Dupree picks it up to me every now and then. We back in Biloxi, and I mean, several years ago. And I said, Jimmy, there's got to be something we can do to get these, there's, high entries, this, that, and the other. And we just talked about it. And that was pulling an all-nighter in Biloxi, of course. And then Swansboro did what they did with the 5-0. They pulled it off, right? I mean, they really started this thing happening. And I was like, man, they got, I mean, they did it. Well, why can't we pull a series together? And, so it was me and Patrick Overstreet were sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings. I want to say we were in Tarboro, and it was over a chicken wing. And they said, this is what we're going to do. We talked about throwing money in a hat and let's just go fish for our own money. And, I started as we went into it. I remember my first, I think Kingfish Connection was a hit then.
Yeah,
And I made this long post and, asking people about it. I mean, I reached out to several people. I mean, just, your Mike Williams, your Mitch Yates, your Duprees, people that I call them the old heads. Mike Williams resents that remark, but I call them the old heads because they were a big part of it. I mean, we were asking at the time for people to send us $3,500, and who in the world, Chad Shingleton, man? Yeah, sure, I'm gonna send you $3,500, man. Golly, and so these guys, I knew if we could pull those guys, and your Mark Hendersons, your Dorseys, I knew if we could pull these guys, other people would come. And as we grew, we tried to implode it instead of getting all this money from sponsors and stuff from the outside to make it happen. We started it with the fisherman's money because we weren't guaranteed a dime from any sponsors. And when we started at the boathouse, I mean, we were scratching pennies to pull it together. I think we pulled $9,000 or $10,000 from fishermen, Ron, wasn't it, to make it happen? Yep. And then as sponsors came in, we grew from the inside out. And I really think that's made a difference in the longevity of the series. We didn't base anything off sponsor money. If we lose everything we have now, we might have a hot dog or two, but we're still going to go fishing for our money, right? And
there you go. And,
Chad, what year were? Oh, sorry, Mark.
No, it's okay.
What year were you guys fishing out of the Beaufort, where the Beaufort Hotel is now?
It was a boathouse at the time, and National Guard was one of our first big, but Bucky and Miss Wendy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was.
You look a little younger then.
Oh my gosh, man! What about that?
Is that Bella?
That's Arabella. She won a scooter. We came up to the weigh-in, and that's when James and Jenny came up.
James and Jenny.
Yeah, I mean, that Angler Army crowd, and man, we had support. We started it off right, I feel like, and I think as we've grown, I think just being honest and keeping the integrity of the sport, and just no matter who it is or what it is, this is the way it's going to be. Trying to treat everybody fairly, making the right decisions the best we can, and people understanding that, I think, is the reason. Because it don't take but one time. You guys know, one bad thing happens. It don't matter how good everything's been. The one time somebody gets in or does something like that, it's over. I mean, you really ruin the integrity of it, and that's something we've always tried to keep true. And I think that's the reason why we're able to be as successful as we've been.
Yeah, I mean, the development that where it started in the north and then into the south, and and now we're talking about the the Cape Lookout Classic Series. And by the way, I think this past week the entry or the involvement in that, or the
registration series, the registration.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Plug that real quick. Make sure those out here listening know about that, Chad.
Yeah, for sure. But real quick with the South, we had, pretty much, if you'd ever told me 10 years ago I'd live at Carolina Beach, which is crazy because Michelle's family's all Atlantic Beach. So that's why the North started like it did. That was home.
Right.
Then we moved down here and we're like, well, shoot, let's do this. So that evolved into the South. Now we're going into our 7th season in the South, I think. 7th or 8th season in the South.
Yeah, they all run together.
Yeah. And, Frying Pan was a big part of that, and starting in the Little River. And so, and then as that's kind of grown and people want a piece of that. But coming back to the classic, Mark, we're still not doing the little 20-foot wellcraft guys like I started out any favors in this. And the guys that don't, not everybody now I mean, the 27 Onslow is a small boat now in these series. I mean, man, if my first boat was a 27 Onslow, I'd be like, oh my gosh. And that's not everybody. So we've got to get people back involved more so with the boundaries and the things of that nature. Whereas it don't matter if you're fishing a 40-footer or a 20-footer, you're still fishing the same pond. You take out a lot of these runs. I think Hatteras and that run killed Division One in SKA. I really think it hurt it more than it helped it, because a little guy, I mean, he can even crossing the shoal.
Yeah, it's
You know,
hard.
I think it can be, it's somebody that doesn't do it all the time. It's really, it's scary. And, you know, I want to beat somebody, not because I know a shortcut or can run through Drum Inlet better than they can or anything. I want to beat you because we've all got to the same spot and we're fishing against each
Well,
other.
I remember back in, you talking about in today, 2005, 6, whatever, it was a major thing to get over for most people to get over to the east side.
Yeah.
Not to, and God forbid you go to Drum Inlet. I knew a few people, Right One Baby and people like that. Those boys, they could make that run every once in a while, and they had a 31 contender, and they knew a lot. There was another team that been around a long time here in Swansboro, and but I mean, man, it was some things back then. We were in a little 23-foot C Pro and single engine, and you're just things that you thought about doing, and you saw other people that could periodically do it. But now, man, I mean, it's, if you don't do it, you can't compete.
Yeah, that's right. Drum Inlet now is 3 wide. I remember me and Jimmy Mack, we gosh, Al Morris, he'd be like, you better come on, I can't slow down, that's, because he'd bump bottom, and we're sitting out there timing up the waves, and old Jimmy Mack said, all right, Chet Burnett, this looks good. We take off. But at the end of the day, I mean, I just think that we've got to still get that classic crowd, if you will, back involved in the sport, because if not, we're going to, this big boat stuff and these high entry, not everybody can start out here.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what,
you guys have done a great job with it.
Absolutely. That David Pennington tournament is just fantastic, man. We just have truly enjoyed fishing that event. And I know that's part of the classic series, and, y'all just, y'all done a great job with that. And I think people really appreciate that event.
Oh, sure, man. David,
100 boats, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had right at 100 boats. This last year. Yeah, we had 94, 95 right to start with. Let me let my dog out. He about to wear me to death.
But Ron,
one thing that while Chad's gone, and I think you kind of mentioned it earlier, one thing that I definitely want to say, that without Michelle, his wife, none of this for all of us would be going on. Yeah. She is, the straw that stirs the drink, she's the glue. I mean, I don't care whatever, symbolism you want to say. That lady, she's incredible. Absolutely.
She's at every event. I mean, continuously there, a rock in the cornerstone of it. There's no question. And obviously, with David Chavis involved, Dustin involved. I mean, there's a lot of people that we call out. We'll miss somebody if we name everybody. I know that. But, all those people do need to be, recognized. Justin Short, how about that guy? I mean, the weighmaster at all these events. Justin lives down toward Wilmington, travels up, and Justin worked for me when I was at Neuworth Motors, and so I've known him a long time, and him getting involved, it was really cool to see, and just a lot of volunteers, a lot of people that are in the background, if you will, that make so many good things happen for all us fishermen. We just come away fish and have great suppers and things like that and talk, when everybody else is doing the hard work,
Well, when we first kind of started out, Ethan was a big part of it, and Mike Edwards was a help. And now, with Mike Williams, you don't see much out of him or hear much out of him unless you're getting at the awards, of course. But
exactly.
He's a big part behind the scenes, man. He kind of looks after the money and looks after things, and there's not much thought that goes into any weather or any of that stuff without us, at least, that lead us talking about it. I promise you there's not one person that makes those decisions. And there's a lot of people, and David, who don't love Curly. That's
Yeah,
my
for
buddy,
sure.
man. He's as good as he's a solid dude. We could call that dude right now. That'd be a hurricane in Florida. I said, Dave, let's go fishing. All right, he just load up and go. I mean, that's just the way. Now he's Dr. Doolittle. So I don't know if he can bring
I
his
saw
cows
that.
and stuff along with him. But
Uh,
Instead of the
well,
tackle trailer, the animal
but
trailer.
talking about Justin Short, guys. Actually, Chad. I think it's Chad Brown that Fish with Mom said no at the time.
that's
Yeah.
right.
I think he worked with you guys, and he's like, "Hey, there's this guy that wants to bring some rods out. He's building some rods, and he'd like to come to the captain's meeting." I mean, you know me, man. I'm like, "Man, come on, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell him to come. We'll treat him like family." And Justin brings out some rods, and man, just we talk about starting to weigh, and man, I tell you, him and Shell and the girls, I'm telling you, it don't happen. It does not happen
Well,
without.
and I tell you, man, it's always a pleasure to weigh your fish with Justin too, because he's always accommodating, smiling, talks to you with respect and decency, remembers people. He just does such a good job.
Yeah, he really does.
So,
He does.
well, Ron, let's transition into a little bit on the Morehead City Open. I mean, you guys are connected on a lot of this stuff. I mean, I know you've been on the board and you're kind of the face of the Morehead City Open as the director. I know, but I think y'all all kind of sharing the responsibilities. But let's talk about the Morehead City Open. You know, Mike Minius shared a little bit of a story with Scott Parsons with Carolina Kings and how it kind of got started for that event down there. But because of the Morehead City Open, and how did all this kind of, when y'all started putting this together, what was your focus and what was your goal?
Well, honestly, we just started looking at it. Let's do something a little different. We wanted it to be a 2-day event, have a family fishing focus, pay the fishermen, try to, big payout with, yes, it is a larger entry fee, but paying it all back. And the key is, I think we are paying more than 100% there. But the focus, again, spreading the wealth. Yeah, we have a first place of $150,000. What an awesome first place prize. But when we added this year, well, what would have been last year, moved to 75 boats from 65 boats. Instead of up in the first place, we spread it down the line so that like 10th place will get $10,000. So, and we pay 20%. So you got a 1 in 5 chance of getting your money back. And, 15th place is guaranteed $5,000 and then, pay some other things. But the whole goal was a true integrity based, just everything about it. Try to make it as fun, but also a chance to win some big money. And we've tried to adjust and make changes for what the fishermen wanted. I mean, our motto is a tournament run by the fishermen for the fishermen, because again, it's all, we don't, and I know nothing against anybody that does, but we don't take anything out of it. It's all the money goes back in, whatever sponsorship dollars, everything is just back in. The same way with the shootout. And I mean, Chad's a big part of why we started the Morehead City Open. As I said, my dad is the treasurer. I just happen to be tournament director, but that doesn't mean I do much of it. Michelle Shingleton, by far and away, she is the one that makes it all happen. And it's just, it's something. Yeah, I'm proud of what the event has become. Because like Alex, when they did start up the Fort Pierce tournament, Alex was calling me going, "Hey, would it be okay if we mimicked it?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Anything we can do to help you." And so, yeah, I kind of helped talk them, and what an event they run down there. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very comparable, very similar to what happens up here, and what you guys have done is also transitioned, for I think it was a really, really good thing. You know, the Swansboro 5-0 did this when they first started as well, as they started having the captain's meeting a couple of days ahead of time, 2 days before the fishing day. And when they did that, I mean, it was a big deal to be able to have people enjoy the captain's meeting. That, you know, the camaraderie, they sit down and chat, they have dinner, you know, all those things. And then, you know, as opposed to feeling like, okay, I gotta register, leave, and get back to the house to get everything ready on the boat. It kind of lets people relax a little bit. And a lot of that was happening because some of the things down in Florida. And it's just, you know, I've been able to travel and see some of these things. It was really cool to see, like Jamie Bunn and Blue Water Movements and what they did. They always brought that unique concept to it, and so it's transitioned up here, and now our stuff up here has gone back down Florida, so it's kind of cool. And you know what James and Jen have done, they've got a whole unique perspective on things over with Angler Armory and on the West Coast, and you know, with the Fish What You Wish, that's a whole different thing that we could talk about too. There's a lot of things that are going on in the sport that really kind of fill the gaps that, you know, some of the old school stuff that we talked about no longer really kind of fills. So even though some of that's still going on and all that, it's just a transition. It's a lot of things that have happened, and really appreciative and proud of what you guys and all the people in the behind the scenes are doing to keep the sport alive for the people who truly do love it. And the people that, you know, and I know people do still love it. I, you know, go to boat shows as part of my daily work and things like that, you know, and a lot of people chat about, you know, about the sport and the health of it, and, you know, and how it continues to develop, and that's exciting. And, you know, you guys and many people that work with you on this have been a huge part of that.
Yeah, it's again, a family. It truly is a family. It's a great group that helps run it. And again, David, Dustin, you know, Chad and Michelle.
And Uncle Scott. We got to get Uncle Scott
Parsons. Yeah, I can't leave Scott. Scott is huge. He's an absolute.
He's always fussing at me because if I tell him 12, it's 2. But he knows now.
Yeah, he's kind of a quiet one. He kind of stays in the background a little bit, but I know he's very involved. And
Carson loves him some Uncle Scott. Yeah.
Uncle Scott. Yeah. So.
He got his bionic knee put in place a few years back, and he's like a new man, isn't he?
Oh, he is.
Oh, gosh, yes. Mr. Pickleball now. You know?
Jimmy Buffet.
Got to give it to him, man. Stays in shape, great attitude, fun personality, so many good people in this sport.
Yeah,
man. So
absolutely.
I want to ask real quick. You know, you've done the shootout for 14 years now, and run. You know, we're on what year 6 of the
7.
7 of the Morehead City Open. What, you know, Chad, we'll start with you. What's your most fond memory of either you guys fishing the shootout or you know, another team involved in the shootout? But in that 14 years, what sticks out to you?
Oh man. There are a lot of things that have kind of stick in my mind. You know, I'm remembering right now, good and bad, you know, but I mean, being a part of the wins, even when we stink all day, I always say I got to come back and smile at all you rascals, you know, but being a part of those wins with his families, the Tillets, like I talk about with Riggs, Randall, and George Edens. I mean, you know, to sharing those experiences with those people, and to have the families that's been created through this is probably one of the is the high spot. It's not really one thing that sets out to me, but also the platform that's been created with these events, being able to just go out and help folks with the monies raised, and just these guys are just, hey, we need this. I mean, they'll throw it out there, and being able to do that. I mean, gosh, it's like I said, there's so many things.
That's awesome.
I was going to say, with running and being a part of the tournament, getting to know in both the shootout and in the MCO, it's the people, just getting to know so many great people that had I not been involved in it, would not know. Just that's it. Just plain and simple. It's just developing relationships and friendships.
Yeah, for sure. And Ron, early in the podcast we were talking, I wanted to get back to something too. It's kind of talk to us a little bit about what the industry and what the sport has led to you, what you do for a living, and as being part of the industry on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, well, it's a love of boats and fishing in general. Prior to what I do now, I worked with the North Carolina Sportsman magazine for 13 years and was associate publisher and did ad sales. And again, it was just because I got to go to boat dealerships and be a part of that and tackle shops. And, I said, hey, I get to go see and be a part of that. And as the magazine industry transitioned out and things changed there, I'm now with Dorema Group, which is a rep group that I do boat and RV parts and pieces. Some great companies represent Dometic and Lumitech and Starbright, and they're just a big list of companies. So again, in the industry, and it's just because of that love that I've stayed in it. And I wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't working in the industry. It's just my wife just says, you wouldn't, if you weren't out there doing it, you'd be miserable. And so, it's just that love of boats. And my parents swear the first words I ever said were boat, daddy, boat. And it's been I don't know if that was a good or a bad thing, but hey, I will always, that old saying, the best and the worst day, or, that you buy it, that you sell it. The best days are those two. It is the worst day for me when you see one pull out of the driveway many times, even if you're replacing it. But when you see one leave, it's like a part of you leaves.
Can definitely be tough. There's no doubt about that. So, well, guys, one other thing, as we're getting ready to start up the season, we got a few more minutes here. Would like to chat a little bit about, with what you do. Not only are you tournament directors, both of you are highly successful tournament fishermen. Okay, we talked some about that, but that's a unique combination, and you've always done it with integrity and been able to differentiate those two things. And so I greatly respect and appreciate that as a fisherman, as a competitive fisherman. But when the season ends, I was trying to count it up. I think your guys are touching anywhere from maybe 11 or 12 tournaments in some way, shape, or form. And not only are you orchestrating that, I know you have great help. I know you have a great support system. But when it comes to the fishing part of it too, you're fishing all of these things. And, and so at the end of the year, is it a burnout situation for you? And then how long does it take you to be ready to start again? Carson's not involved in this, Chad. We talking about the old boys right here on this call, okay? We ain't talking about the boys that are ready next week.
Yeah, to be absolutely honest, I'm tired and I'm ready to go into deer woods. I really am. We have been successful, but with the part that I've signed up for and being the mouthpiece of the shootout, if you will, a lot of that energy and excitement, I can't take it in. I'm definitely not looking because I got to make sure the checks are right and who's in front, we've got everything going on. So I don't have a lot of that. I don't get that, maybe that few minutes of excitement, but just got to make sure things are right, because I want it to be a certain way. I'm not going to let my win spoil anything for anybody else, or you know what I'm saying. So I just want to try to be straight across the board. And yeah, at the end of the season, I'm ready for a break. But come January, Shell's already picking. She's got. Hey, I need you to look at this shirt design. I just put my head down, and but yeah, I'm ready for it to get. It don't take long before I'm fired back up, ready to go. Because if we ain't tournament fishing, we fishing a hunt. That's and work. Sorry, I got to do that. But,
yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's tiring. It really is. But I love it. Right? It's not. It's a passion. It's just a passion I have for doing it. But it's you're ready for a break.
Yeah. Nope. Understood. And then Ron, you ready to start back up?
Oh, absolutely. I am. I don't deer hunt anymore. And the reason I don't, as a kid growing up, I loved it, is because the best fishing is October, November, and December. And I can't do both well enough. I just, with the job, I just don't have the time. Chad over here building a house or two every once in a while. He's got, all jokes aside, it's as soon as the season ends, I look forward to sea bass fishing and doing that and all a little bit during the winter. But honestly, I'm sitting there in January watching football and tying king mackerel rigs. You ask my wife, I'm sitting there. I got more king mackerel rigs tied than I know what to do with, but I can't help myself. It's just what I do when I'm sitting there because I'm so ready to go again.
Got to have them. They'll be gone before you know it. You get into a stupid bite. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
But with talking about that a little bit, Chad, share a recent tournament that has nothing to do with the king mackerel with you and Carson. Talk a little bit about that.
But we sent that picture to Henry Tillett. That said that Carson said Henry, this boat likes them strike mackerels too. But yeah, Jackson David put a tournament on. We fished it 2 years now, and I mean, just real quick, it was just the days that you go out there and get one bite or you're 0 for whatever on wahoos. I mean, Carson pulled it back in 71-degree water. I'm in the beanbag, sorry, yes, and put it back, and him and Hudson and Spivey's putting the planer out. Hudson's putting the long line out. And y'all got to know Hudson now. He's as country as a pork chop. And man, he's putting that long line out. Well, all of a sudden it's on free spool. It's changed gears. You can just tell when a fish bites it in this free spool with the clicker on. He said, "Oh, this so good in here." He's just talking. And man, we caught that 83 in the first 5 minutes of fishing. We started fishing like 8:04. Wow. 10, we had an 83. The next fish was like a 40. We had a sailfish before 9. We caught we were limited. We were 8 for 8 on wahoos and one sail before 1:30 that day. And I mean, we weighed an 83, a 61, and a 41 on one day. Jackson was like, "What?" He called me player. He said, "Keep pulling like that boat, ain't you, player?" Yeah, I mean, we just kept pulling them, and it was unbelievable. We have the same pictures though in Carson and Hudson 8 years ago with wahoos in the boat, and I've got a picture of them side by side. And so, I mean, that was exciting. I mean, to catch a fish, to catch a mackerel on the day of a tournament that's a tournament winner or a good fish, the same as a wahoo or a marlin or sailfish or anything else. To do it on a tournament, it just adds that much more excitement to it.
That's good stuff. Well, congratulations on that, man.
Oh, thank you.
And guys, we probably need to wrap it up a little bit, but there is one thing we really like to talk. Well, John, go ahead.
Yeah. So, hey, before we wrap it up, I got one thing I want to kind of bring up. We talk about being passionate about something, and Chad, you hit it on just a few minutes ago with the charities. And you guys have mentioned. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Studio Thunder there, but last year you guys started a charity. In honor of a good friend of yours and somebody who I knew and respected the heck out of, and Pause for People. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I had actually work got in the way of, but Michelle, she wrote me something to write because she went to this where these guys are teamed up with their dogs. Okay. And what we've done through the shootout and the Morehead City Open is we have funded 2 dogs to go to kids. Jody loved, he loved kids and loved helping kids, whether it be fishing or whatever. So I just felt like this was a great honor for Jody and Ron with the Morehead City Open. So we basically get these dogs for these people, but they go through a hard training, and the program was awesome. I'd love to have the guy that was at our captain's meeting to be on this one night just to kind of explain it and really get down, because we could talk another forever on this. I know we're running out of time. But Shell went to this where the dog was presented to this guy. Now they spent a time. This is the second time that they've been together, and she said this was in March. She was able. This is just one dog. We still got another dog that hasn't been set up yet. That she got to go see a young man be paired with his dog. Our support from the shootout and the Open helped make this happen. Michelle said that this young man and his mom were battling PTSD. The dog assigned to this little fella not only allows him to be able to go out to school again, but also helps his mom in certain ways too. There were no words that she could use to describe watching the dogs being paired with their forever partners. But she assured me that our donations are in the right place, and we look forward to updates from Rob and Pause for People. those dogs, I mean, again, the platforms that I told you we've been able to create amongst us together to go out and help these people. It don't get any better.
What Jody Gay meant to the fishing industry, you can't, he meant everything for all of us knowing what Blue Water Candy, it's the name of that boat, the fishing's been done. We just were trying to look for some way to honor him, and felt like that doing something for a kid, because he was, you know, heck with what he did for his grandsons and what he did for kids. So it was just, that was it, just having some way to honor him. And luckily we're able to do enough money now that, like Chad said, we're going to be able to do 2 dogs.
That's awesome. Well, there's not a whole lot of, you know, there's not a whole lot of people that meant more to this sport and this industry, and had such a personality that was just a magnetic personality as Jody did, and what his whole family meant, not, you know, with Terry and Jesse and Russell, and what they mean to the industry, to the sport. You know, I know that all of us here very familiar with the family and knew Jody, and what a very challenging day that was. Ron, that was actually on Morehead City Open when Jody passed, and I know that was very, very overwhelming for the whole community. So it's exciting and very appreciative that you know, that you guys and the sport and the tournaments are honoring, you know, Jody in that way. So we certainly appreciate it. I thank you for that, and I know that the sport does as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And if we got real quick, guys, I mean, just Ron, if you don't mind me hitting all of them real quick, we got the Morehead City Open with the Child Wish. They run that sector out of Southport. It's just taking terminally ill kids fishing, which is an awesome day in August. If you guys, you know, the money that the Morehead City Open give them gas cards to let people travel. These families don't pay for anything. We volunteer the boats. I mean, kids with wheelchairs, never seen a fish. When we're out there kicking ourselves and can't find one, these kids catch a shark this big, and it's just like, holy cow, look at this. And Military Appreciation Day that we started, the David Pennington College Fund that we're doing for anybody in wildlife, for NC State. We've got two scholarships now, 2 $5,000 scholarships now, I believe is what it is. And for David Pennington's name at State. And then as we have different things, Pause for People, we'll have extra money sometimes, and we'll just, the flood here at Carolina Beach, we were able just to go hand some people some cash to help them out, waitresses that weren't working. So there are a lot of things that gets help behind this tournament, and all these tournaments, of course.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, we all get so wrapped up in how much, you know, the tournament's payout is, and just the generosity of many of the teams and the people that, and the captains and the, you know, just the families that do participate, and what all this has led to with the charities and the value that so many of these tournaments, and you know, most tournaments have some sort of a charitable organization that is benefits from it, whether it be from the sale of fish or whatever it may be. But there's thousands and tens of thousands of dollars that are donated to many charities throughout, and driven by, you know, people that put these events on, the fishermen who put their monies in place. And, you know, so thank you to everybody who's a part of the sport. Thank you guys for everything that y'all do. And you've worked so hard. And, you know, I know from a personal standpoint how much I appreciate, you know, being able to be part of this, and it's an honor, a lot of fun, you know. It's just being able to meet you guys over the years and develop relationships. It's you know, it's humbling.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, gentlemen, it's been a great discussion. We've gone just a little over an hour, and we appreciate your time. And, you know, I think we'll, as we get closer to the events, and, you know, the South's coming up in not too long, but, you know, the Morehead City Open and the North stuff, we'll have to get you guys back on and chat a little bit more about it.
Yep, the series is open, like Mark's mentioned, on our website, Cape Lookout Shootout. You go on there, register your team, but you don't have to be in the series to fish any of the events, you know. So
cool strategy, guys. Good stuff. And, you know, again, I thank you from a personal standpoint, friendship standpoint. Have great respect for both of you and all those in behind the scenes that we've mentioned. So thank you to all of them as well. And
thank you guys.
Look forward to having you guys on again.
Thanks for giving us the
Guys.
platform to talk about it. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
so
you
much.
guys.
Yeah.
Y'all have
Have
a
a
good
great
night.
night.
guys.
Yeah.
Tell
Have a
family
Everybody.
hello.
See you.
All right,
All right,
sir.
John.
Well, that was 3 down. Let's see how
How
many
about
more we
that?
can get going.
Yeah, man. I mean,
Those guys are fantastic.
they are wonderful people, man, and just the sport as a whole. A lot of great people in this sport, and like I say, well, hopefully we're bringing some energy and some interest level to it. That's maybe a little bit different, but I mean, like I say, we're just two guys on here trying to fill some time and have some good guests on so people can listen to and hopefully fill a need and a desire that they have to be part of a cool sport.
Well, it's I think talking with those guys talking about charities, man. I think that's probably one of the most overlooked things, from people outside of the industry, right, and outside of what we do, is how giving fishermen are. Whether it be a pause for people type thing, or you hear about these islands getting devastated with hurricanes and the sport fish boats bringing supplies and things like that without a second thought, without hesitation, right?
Yeah, and they're not doing it for headlines. I mean, they're doing it
No.
because they care about people, and they have the ability to do it, and it's exciting to see that. That a lot of that stuff gets hidden, and a lot of guys do things like that. And I mean, there's some very high profile people that I know within the last couple of years made a lot of donations and some things, did some really cool things that they wouldn't want to be recognized for it. They weren't out there to doing that. So, but it happens, and people listening to this, it's a great sport to be involved in. You love winning. Those two guys right there, they put on tournaments that consistently pay out for the winner over $100,000. So the money's there, the opportunity is there, but there's so many things in the background that we talked about with the volunteers, the wives, the families, the kids, and man, it's a really neat thing to be part of. I've been thankful for that.
One of the reasons I got into it, so many years ago, and continue to do it and fish tournaments, and now trying to get my girls involved, and so they can understand what it's all about. So, and I know that's why you got into it with you and your boys. So.
Absolutely, man. We'll have to go into how you and I met one day with the Intrepid. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
It would.
So, well, listen, man. I know you got to get on the road early. We'll wrap this thing up. You guys drive safe, and we'll figure out a plan for next week, and we'll
absolutely
we'll get some chatter going on from down in Florida with you guys. But for everybody still listening, certainly like and subscribe to the Liquid Fire YouTube channel. We're going to post the video portion of this there. But the audio version is going to be on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you guys can listen to audio versions of the podcast. Please, like and subscribe there, and we're going to try and build this thing as big as we can.
Good deal, man. John, I appreciate all you did, my friend. And to anybody who's still listening out there or sees this in perpetuity, hopefully you have a good time. Spend as much time you can with your family and friends. Enjoy your time on the water. And we look forward to seeing you next episode.
Absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.
See you, everyone.